Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Shakti Waves Radio with me, Sonia Rose. I am so excited to have today's guest here today because we had a lot of fun and a lot of depth diving into magic and marketing and branding. But we actually didn't even end up building a brand together, yet she still has this gorgeous brand and this really beautiful expression of who she is, which always continues to evolve. Welcome, Angela Rosenow, the beautiful self-love oracle and feminine power activator, and so much more. You can't really put it all in a title. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Yay. So, Angela, our story together began just over a year ago when I met you inside of my program, Lucky Witch, which was really my first time ever sharing about being a witch, about magic, because obviously with all the witch hunts that happened in Europe, I haven't done the research to see whether or not my actual lineage was involved, but I mean, the impact was huge. There was a genociding of people who were connected to nature and magic and the cosmos, which really to me is just a being human and connected to the planet and ourselves. And it was such a powerful activation for me to be sharing that. And that's where we met. And that was one of my most intense programs I've ever created. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that. And then we'll get into your, like, how it all began, like how you went from, working in administration in the medical field to being a self-love oracle, which is a pretty epic journey. So let's start with our origin story in Lucky Witch.
Yes. Okay. So I really wanted to do Lucky Witch. I didn't know who you were, didn't know anything about you, but we have a mutual friend, Chelsea, who was talking about it. And I just knew that it was something I wanted to be involved in. It didn't feel like a good fit at first. And then the more I saw you post about it, it was like, I'm drawn to this. And when I joined the program, it was so activating for me because I met the amazing women in that container, got in to spend a lot of time in your energy. And I feel like that was a huge catalyst for me in amping up where I was in my life and owning who I am and embracing that the witch inside me and the priestess and the goddess and all of this that I knew was there, but couldn't quite put a finger on it. It was, that was just, it's like, it just released it. And I started really owning who I am and talking about it, feeling comfortable talking about it and not really caring what other people thought. I don't care if they think I'm crazy. This is who I am. This is what I love. And this is what needs to be shared with the world. And that was just, it was very activating for me.
I love that. You fully stepped into your full self, your power. And how was that? Like, because the big part about Lucky Witch was banishing our witch wounds and, connecting through sisterhood. And we had the 5 witch wounds that we work through. And then we created the 5 superpowers that really like alchemize those witch wounds. But for you, like, were you even present to having witch wounds? Did you identify as a witch? Like, did you know that about yourself? Like, what was your relationship to that before that program?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a witch. How would I put it that way? It was like, oh, I'm watching all these women talk about stuff on social media. And I'm like, oh, I want that to be me. But I didn't believe it was in me. And when I joined Lucky Witch, I was on medical leave from my corporate job and going through such a huge shift in my life, physically, emotionally, mentally. Everything was just, nothing was in flow. Everything was like all over the place. And then Lucky Witch came into my aura and it was like, bam, it's time to open your eyes. Like, that's the only way I can really explain it. It was like, you are a witch. Like, stop, watching other people and going, oh, I wish that was me. And just go, oh, actually you are. And there was a lot of wounds that had to be healed with, I guess, self-acceptance and belief that I was worthy, that I was powerful, that I had it in me. I didn't learning to trust that it was there. That was hard for me. And it took you, you and I have done many deep conversations about this, and what my journey was. And I went through a very huge period of self-doubt and uncertainty in my life. And like, I lost my identity when I went on medical leave and was no longer working in the corporate world. And through embracing and witnessing and accepting the witch in me, it's like I blossomed. I found who I was that I didn't even know I was. And it was just so powerful, but it was scary AF. And it just, I felt it in my body, the aches and pains. I went through a lot of ascension symptoms. I fought it in a lot of ways. Much as I wanted it, I was reaching for it, but I was pushing it away. And then I'd reach and then I'd push away. And I can't even pinpoint the exact moment where all of a sudden it was like, nope, I got this. And I just let it all flow over me. And it was just, to use one of your favorite words, it was epic. Like, it just, it was like, this is who I am. This is who I'm meant to be. And I started trying to force it, which did not work. And then this last year, I really leaned back and surrendered. And that's when it just started moving and shifting. And it just, it's a journey that's not easy to go through, but worth it. Once you I'm not on the other side, but once you get through that first little bit, because every time you peak, you go higher and you go higher, and you get through those first few tough ones. And then it's like, okay, this is tough. Kicked my butt some days, but you know what? It's good. It's worth it. And I'm going to keep going.
I love it. I mean, it's so worth it for you to be in your power and to know who you are. And especially after a journey of working in the corporate world, being a mother of 3, like there were so many different identities and expressions that you had in your life. And then to fully come into your power was really profound to witness. And oh, I'm just so grateful. And also for all of you that are listening or watching, wherever you're viewing this or hearing this, Lucky Witch is also a prosperity program. It's meant to expand our prosperity so that we can understand that it's not the Middle Ages anymore, and we can actually make money from our magic. Us being in our magic, expressing our magic is what can make us money. There's a magic surrender to that, right? Divine timing, and surrender and release, right? Every spell you cast, you got to just let it go afterwards. You can't just be sitting there being like, okay, like, where is it? Where's my creation? Where's my wish come true? But the big part that I loved most about Lucky Witch, which really was the foundation, was the prosperity piece. So for anyone that's like, wow, that's a powerful journey, I want to go on that journey, you literally can. Lucky Witch is available all the time. It's only $144. It will only ever be $144 because I want it to be really accessible. And I'm going to keep adding more to it over the years. And you can use, if you want to reach out to Angela, you can reach out to Angela at angela.rosenow on Instagram, or her website, angelarose.com, angelarosenow.com, because she's a rose now. She's in full bloom. It was so epic to witness. And reach out to her, because everyone that's in the program becomes an immediate like prosperity affiliate of the program. Because I really, really consciously created this program for that magic to spread and everyone to share in the wealth of it. So, because I believe like true wealth only happens when we're all prosperous. There's nothing worse. And that was really a lot of the pain that I've experienced myself as an entrepreneur and through coaching other entrepreneurs, is when, one person making 10K months and having a lot of prosperity, but other people around them not doing that. That's not fun, right? That's not enjoyable. Like, unless we all win, we don't all win. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that piece before we get into your full story of how you went from working this corporate job to becoming a self-love oracle. And I love that Lucky Witch was a big part of your self-love journey and self-empowerment journey. Yes. Oh, I'm just so excited. Okay. So yes, go ahead, Angela. Tell us about your epic journey to become an entrepreneur and how you got to the place where you are right now.
Oh my gosh. where to even begin. I guess really it all starts with my health. And I started having health problems about a decade ago, very unexplained, couldn't figure them out. And they just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And that led me into exploring holistic nutrition, wanting to understand the body and wanting to figure out how to heal myself from the inside out. I didn't want medical doctors just throwing prescriptions at me. They were making it worse. They weren't making it better. And so I started studying holistic health coaching. And through that, developed my voice. And friends would come to me and ask for advice, and I would light up and start talking, and I was guiding them. And I didn't realize at the time how much I was channeling. And that kind of evolved into life coaching. And it's like, well, maybe this is a better fit than health coaching. And so I kept going in my schooling, and I just recently finished my designation to be a holistic nutritionist. And it's still a part of me, and I still believe in all of that. But it evolved so much that as my health crisis failed, and the health system failed me, I reached out into alternatives, and I started exploring spirituality and started hiring mentors and coaches to work with, realizing that there was so much more work that needed to be done inside so that I could release all the trauma that had built up with my health stuff before I could heal my body. And as I dove deeper into that, I wanted more. I craved more. It was like I couldn't find enough. And I went through several different mentors, and I learned from each of them. And some of them I was just like, I don't think I got anything from this. And then a year or two later, it would be like, ding, ding, ding. Oh, now I get what they were saying. And as I evolved, I started drawing people into my energy. And I started going, maybe I can do this for a living. And so I started kind of dabbling in coaching while I was still working my corporate job, as my health failed, as I was exhausted and stressed, as I was ending up on the floor 3-4 times a day in tears, just from the overwhelm and the anxiety. And it all became too much 3 years ago, and 2 years ago in September, 2 years ago. And I crashed, and I ended up on medical leave. And I sat on my ass for a few months, feeling sorry for myself, and nothing was changing. My health wasn't changing. And I'm like, I'm never going to get out of this. I had the worst brain fog, the worst anxiety. I couldn't function. And one day I just went, enough of this bullshit. Like, come on, Angela, you're better than this. And I started getting back into the spiritual stuff and started putting my energy out there. And I discovered things like Lucky Witch. And it all woke up inside me, and I started healing those the witch wounds, the inner child wounds, the sisterhood wounds, the mother wounds, my divorce. I went through a very traumatic divorce in 2008, 2009, and there was so much still inside me. And as those layers were exposed and healed, I felt myself rising more. And then I started realizing how psychic I was.
You're very psychic.
The goddess, the witch, the priestess, like all of this started coming out, and I started channeling more. And it was like, ooh, wow, I'm powerful AF. And I chose then to not return to the corporate world. I realized how much it had been stagnating me and preventing me from being who I truly am and I'm meant to be. And with not returning to the corporate world, it caused some major financial issues. I ended up in a major financial struggle in this last year. And I got really stuck in that money wound head, and I wasn't progressing. But the stuff, like you talked about, the prosperity stuff in Lucky Witch, once I revisited that and brought it back into the forefront of my mind and started doing that healing work that we had done, like going through it again that we'd worked on in Lucky Witch, I started healing those money wounds, and then things started flowing. And I had this idea that it needed to be this way. I was going to 100% do my coaching, and that was it. And I created this beautiful website with your help. And it was like, okay, this is great. And then crickets. It's because I wasn't there mentally. And when I surrendered and I started looking for a part-time job, it's like, okay, I need to bring money in. And then I could handle this. And I got a job working at a local gym, and the energy there is good. but the staffing was like this.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of drama, and I started really working on creating more of a team environment. And then I was hired to work for a VA company that I'm still working with as well. And through working with these powerful coaches that I'm doing their work for, it all came out even more. And it's just been this journey this last year of surrender and cracking wide open.
Mm.
And now I'm in a place where my health is improving daily.
Yes.
My
Yes.
psychic abilities are coming out almost daily. Like, I'm blowing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing these women on social media talking about the year ahead forecast and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I was already thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of
so
course you were. Of course you were.
it's evolved from this corporate person. And I was, like you said, I worked in finance. I was a finance officer for a healthcare company. To now, I'm sitting here in my fuzzy pants and my comfy chair on talking to you. And I've got beautiful work to do for women that are like changing the world. And then I'm going to the gym and I'm helping people improve their lives. And every little bit of that is helping me, and my abundance has started to grow. And I'm able to see the abundance that was always there, but that I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't see last year, which you and I went through a very serious or similar period of time last year.
We
And
did. It was very dark. Pisces season took us into the ocean and spit us back out.
yes. And it's like, what I say to my clients is, it's in the darkness that we bloom. It's like a lotus flower. We grow through the mud. And the last year was hard, but if you look at the lessons that you learned and take that with you, and then let the rest just float away. Don't hold on to it. Just let it, just like water off your shoulder. Just let it go and hold on to the lessons and go, okay, what can I take with me? What can I learn from this? Then the next step is just amazing and powerful and potent and life shattering and changing in the most blessed ways. But I couldn't see that last year. And then all of a sudden one day you do.
Yes.
And that's the
Oh.
power in these spiritual awakenings. And I know that's over, talked about on social media. There's a lot of coaches out there that are over talking about things like that, but there's no other words to use for it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I just love your realness and your vulnerability. And that was always a big part of the power that I would reflect to you, was you're just potent. And I mean, you are potent. You're a pure manifesting generator. And that was a big part of what we learned about in Lucky Witch, with Teresa Brenneman, my favorite emotional MG, feeling sense sister. Like, she is just the best at really like being human about the human design experience, and really being very embodied with her teaching of it. And like, I've looked at your chart so many times, and you have like the 3420, which a lot of us had for a while because of the nodal transit last year. But that is like pure from sacral to the throat, instant manifestation. And it's all about like, is it the right time? Do you have energy for it? Like, is this correct for you? And then you also have the psychic gate connected to that as well. So it's just like this potent power channel of your sacral and your splenic intuition, like working together to instantly manifest. And I've seen it time and time again where incredibly powerful clients, especially female clients, do need to awaken that safety in being powerful and being able to be prosperous and abundant through their love, through those lessons that are, often hard won in life. But when we like allow that power to come through us, it's so exponential. And yes, like the descent is very dark. Going into the underworld of ourselves and excavating all of that pain and shame and trauma from the past is incredibly difficult, especially when we are very sensitive souls and we know that other people are going through that as well. Like, a big part of my depression in the spring and Pisces season was the fact that I knew that I was not the only one, that the world was in pain. There was more war going on. There was all of this deep, deep darkness, and, feeling present to like the level of evil like around as well. But then there was this alchemy that really did happen. And it really is connected to, like, now that I'm reflecting on it and I'm like, what was the pivot point? And it really had to do with one, self-love and acceptance, and seeing all of it as magic, like as necessary, right? I needed to go to that level of depth and be like, why am I on this planet? Like that level of like, what? Existential crisis, to understand why I'm on this planet and to fully own my deep love for the earth and for this life, and then fully walk in my power. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I went, right? Like my word for the year was fun, and I was depressed for like 4 months and
I remember that.
right? My word for the year was fun. And I was like, wow, what an epic way to learn about fun was to like, now every day is fun for me, because every day I wake up feeling good, right? Like after you've suffered from like debilitating exhaustion, not being able to crawl up the stairs, like I couldn't even pick what socks to put on. Like my brain was dead, like, right?
I feel you, sister.
And I know you had already gone through that journey, and it was so intense to go through that, but I wouldn't trade it. Like I don't wish it on anybody. I will never go through it again. But I'm so glad that it happened, because it's like stoicism. It's like when you go to the worst possible situation and you realize you can survive that, and there is deep, like not just deep meaning and purpose beyond, but like the deepest wishes you could ever imagine coming true after you alchemize that darkness and you like are born from the dark womb of the universe. Whew, it is immense. It is just immense. Like I'm so hot. I'm like sweating as I'm saying this, because it really is the most powerful activation into self-love, is to go into the recesses of where you feel the most unlovable and the most useless and the most helpless. And from there, you actually realize like your worth as just a being, as a soul, as a body, as a heart, as a human being that doesn't have to do anything in order to be worthy of love, of abundance, of prosperity. And that's the real lesson. Like, I feel like that's the ultimate Lucky Witch prosperity teaching, is you don't have to be high vibe. You don't need to be in your pleasure. Like, of course, being in alignment and sourced and feeling good and magnetic, very important. But you get to be taken care of even when you feel like shit. That's actually when you get to be the most held, right? Like that's true feminine receiving. So I would just love your response to that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm feeling that so much. That was a lot of what I went through in this last 2 years too, is the self-love piece. Like I've always been very confident and comfortable in myself. And through the health crisis and putting on almost 40 pounds and losing my identity of the finance officer and sitting here at home, I lost myself for a little while there, and I couldn't remember who I was. And I had to really learn to embrace the new me that was emerging, and recognize that the extra weight didn't change who I was. That's just a number on the scale. It's just a number on the size of my pants. It's not who I am. It doesn't define me, but I was letting it define me. I got really in that headspace. And the lack of identity with, having a job to go to or a certain specific role. Like I was literally sitting at home and my kids were having to be self-sufficient, and my husband was taking care of like cooking and groceries and everything. And I really lost who I was. And I had to learn to reach deep inside myself and learn who I was again and fall in love with myself again, because I wasn't who I didn't recognize myself. But who I am now and who I've emerged from it is my true self. Before I had a mask on. I had put this mask on and I was just getting through each single day, just what was expected of me by everybody else. And not for myself. I wasn't doing anything for myself. And I really learned to put myself first and go, screw it, I want to take a bath. I don't care if I need to do dishes. I'm going to take a bath. Or, you know what? No, I'm going to sit here and play Animal Crossing on Nintendo because that's what feels nurturing to me right now.
I love your Nintendo love. I love.
And it's just the biggest piece to self-love for me this last year. I mean, my word for 2022 was surrender.
Oh, yep.
And
there you go.
I really learned to surrender. And through that, rediscovered myself and I learned to love myself again in a way that I've never had before. But that's the power that I'm now using with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we visualize as self-love is very different than what it actually is.
Mm.
And that to me was so profound when I put that piece together. And, you know, I have a client that's gone through a very big struggle. And I said, you know what, give yourself permission to just be, just rest, just go for a walk. Like, you don't have to be on. And it's like, okay, yeah, you have these expectations, you have your job, you have your business, you have your family, you have all this stuff that you think is a priority. But the reality is you know, that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. And it's so true. I never understood what that even meant a few years ago. But now it's like, I get it. Like, I can say to my kids, no, mom needs to chill. And then I will have the energy to help you with that later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my boss at the gym will like, Angela, can you do this? And I can go, no, actually, I can't. I don't have the space for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. And that was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something that a lot of people struggle with is the boundaries and creating space for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big thing I'm working on with clients right now, is just creating that space, because that was a huge shifting point for me. And you learn
Yes.
to love yourself more when you're silent with yourself and allow your thoughts to come through, and you make friends with them, or you go back and heal them, and you learn to just embrace them, and they kind of become part of you, but they don't have that hold on you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that. Like I said, we've been through similar journeys.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
it's profound.
it's so profound. And when you get to the other side, you're like, wow, I didn't think I'd ever get out of that. I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
going to be stuck there forever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that little micro shift happens
Mm-hmm.
and you're out of it. And it's the most mind-boggling thing in the world, that how it can happen that easily when you've tried to force it for so long. And then that little shift. And it's those micro shifts that make all the difference. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what the world needs to know about. That's what we need to share. That's the messaging I want to have out there, is about those little microcurrents.
Mm-hmm.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Oh, I love that. That is pure feminine. Like what you just shared is pure feminine wisdom, especially for mothers and corporate women. And really, I'm just going to say it. It's a bold thing to say, you know, hate me in the comments, whatever. Although I never get hate, because it's, you know, it's just pure love over here. I love everyone. I really, really do. But I'm a sassy Scorpio lady. And internalized patriarchy is a real thing. And I just want to say that patriarchy has fucked everyone. Like,
Right?
I want to say, you know, it's fucked men so bad. Like, men are the ones that put their lives at risk. Men are the ones that have to kill each other in war, that have died in the wars. They're the ones that like have to do those crazy heavy duty jobs, those dangerous jobs, right? What, like, often in our work, like, you know, our work is dangerous emotionally, you can say, but it's not dangerous physically. We don't have to worry about dying or getting injured in our work. And that is what the patriarchy has conditioned men to be like. And then it's conditioned women to be, you know, suppressed, submissive, not in our power, not connected. But then there's also been this like reversal where women are also encouraged or need to be extremely masculine and earn money in order to just survive in the economy that we have right now. And it's so profound. It's literally the deepest wisdom to teach anyone, but especially people, especially women that are feminine women, to surrender and to trust, to know that it's not through the force and the mega actions that you're going to get like the massive results. It's through those micro changes, like literally just the thought of, what did I learn from this? Like, how is this terrible situation that's happened to me the best thing that ever happened to me? And like, you know, that's not to avoid don't avoid your victimhood. When you're a victim, be a victim. Like, let yourself own that you have been trespassed against or wronged or hurt, right? Because otherwise you're just gaslighting yourself, really. Like sometimes self-responsibility in the whole coaching world is just gaslighting, like with really nice words, which is really just what gaslighting is anyway. Right. But it's the almost ultimate, like Cassandra Finch, one of the Lucky Witch leaders, said that Lucky Witch is really the ultimate alchemy for the feminine. And I believe what you just said, like surrender and trusting those micro moments and knowing that actually when you do less is when more comes through. Like I remember the one time I came to your house and met all your dogs and all your children and all the cats, and it was just a magical time. We just had a cuddle fest. I remember I was super stressed that day about needing to like pay bills and get paid and et cetera. And I was in that like loop. And I was even like, should I just stop? Should I just stop being an entrepreneur? I'm like, Angela,
I
I should
remember
just
that.
stop. Like I shouldn't do. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, no, don't stop. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. Like, don't stop. Good advice. And I remember it so distinctly because I literally left your house and I had gotten paid. Like I literally had like $500 extra in my bank account. And I'm like, oh, it was when I stopped trying that it happened. And we're recording this during Mercury retrograde in Sag, which is, I mean, it's like, other than Mercury retrograde in Gemini, it's the most expansive time to be reviewing things and to be like really looking at what did we learn? Let's review, let's reconcile, let's reconsider, let's have a rebirth around any topic. And just trusting whatever comes up. And of course, you intuitively pick today, which is the day that Mars goes direct, for us to have this conversation, because it really is like, oh, there's new actions to take. Like there's new empowerment from here on. There's still another week of Mercury retrograde to really process and realign and recreate your thoughts. Even neural pathways are being reprogrammed during Mercury retrograde. It is a blessing that we get this experience. It is not a bad thing that we go through these retrogrades. They're the natural cycles of the cosmos. And I'm so grateful. Like I'm so grateful to be having this conversation at this time right now, because if we would have had it a month earlier, it wouldn't have been the correct timing, or even like 3 days earlier. Right. There's so much more that I have even processed. So yeah, that's one of the superpowers in Lucky Witch is trust. The way that you deal with the mystery, the day that is just trusting, like trusting, even when it doesn't make any sense to trust the process, trusting it anyway.
Yes, that is so powerful. And that was a hard lesson to learn, but it's what is the biggest change or the biggest shift you're going to find is once you learn to just surrender and trust, even when it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because could you imagine if all of your psychic awakening, your psychic knowing, if you just doubted it and didn't tell anybody, right?
Yeah, like I have changed women's lives with the ability that I was just gifted in this life, that I brought into this life. And I could look at from perspective, like let fear hold it back and go, oh no, nobody really wants to hear me. And oh, what if I don't know what I'm talking about? Or I could just embrace it and share it with the world. And then I'm making these changes in these women's lives, who are then making changes in the lives of the people around them and in their energy. And then it's like this big ripple effect. And the work that we are doing that is so powerful and so necessary right now, we are shifting the planet, and we're chipping away at the patriarchy. And it's little tiny bits here and there, but we're doing the work every single day. And it's so necessary, not only healing the sisterhood wounds, the mother wounds, like the feminine energy wounds. We're not only healing that, we're healing the masculine. We're healing what they have been raised and taught that was not fair to them any more than it was fair to us, to be pigeonholed. You're supposed to be bare naked and what is it? Barefoot pregnant in the kitchen.
Barefoot pregnant in the kitchen.
That was, what was kind of like just before my time, just before I started having kids, that was kind of the mentality. That's what women are supposed to do. And then it was like we were pushed out into the world and it's supposed to do these masculine jobs. And then the men felt threatened by that. And it became this whole battle with the masculine and feminine. And now we're healing that energy. And I'm feeling the shift in the world. And you really feel when there's like the wars and the trauma and all that negativity that you walked through last year. And I remember walking through it with you, and I just feel it very differently than you do. And I could feel it, but I have the ability to see the future and see the big picture. And like, yeah, we're here now, but we're going to be okay. You were in the moment, you couldn't see that. But that was the journey you were on, and you needed to go through that. But for me, it was like, I just had this calmness. It's like, it's going to be okay. We're going to go through a dark period. There's going to be a lot of shifts and changes in the world, but it's okay. Like in the long run, I can't pinpoint when the shift is going to change. I don't know when things are going to settle down. We're in for a rocky period still. I can very much see that, but embracing that ability that I have has been so liberating for me. And it's just now a question of me, or not a question, a point of me getting that out there and not hiding it anymore.
Absolutely.
Just like you're stepping back into your power now. You've gone through that dark period, and now you've reemerged with like your rose behind you, like you're blossoming again. And we both had to go through what we went through last year. It was important for us and for the world and for the changes we're going to make in the world.
Absolutely. There's so much I want to say. And first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for seeing me, and thank you for really reiterating that trust, because I always have had hope. And like, I mean, hope is my transference, guilt is my motivation. And I had a lot of guilt around having guilt as a motivation, and your motivation is fear. So here we are, guilt and fear, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and of course my Libra cusp, I'm a Scorpio sun and Venus right next to each other. You know, I love intensity. I love intensely. But it's on the cusp of Libra. And that's really where my people pleasing tendency comes from. And that's really what I like fully had to let go of. And what I recognized with my guilt motivation is that, like, for some time, I really did have to imagine, like, what if it doesn't get better? Like, because I couldn't be in hope at all. Like, that was a part of that, like, I was kind of transmuting that hope. And then what I realized is, like, especially now that I feel like I've gone on my healing journey, I've really empowered myself. I've done incredible work, like work that I've been praying for years. I got the opportunity to start doing in the summer once I was really through the darkness. It was incredible. I can't wait to share more about that. But it's not time yet. And what was really profound is I realized when we are taking the action, right, which is what guilt motivation is all about. Like, what are you going to do? You can't just hope, you got to do things, right? The house isn't going to clean itself. You got to clean the house or hire somebody, or, you know, it has to get done. And what I realized is there's so many of us that are awake now that have been doing this healing work, and we are the new leaders. Right? We are stepping into our power. We're making more money. Like, the economy is already existing. Like, the new earth is already here. The new earth economy is already here, whatever you want to call it. I'm really not attached to the labels. It's just a harmonic way of living with peace on earth. And I realized, like, we will do it. Like, we will, like, there's massive action required, but we will take those actions. Like, I really don't care what I need to do in order to create peace on earth. I don't care what it takes, because I know it's going to be created through peace. You can't create peace without peace. You can't create peace through war. So for me, there's so many of us that are awake now, and we are in our power, that I'm like, oh, that's inevitable. So I can have hope when I'm willing to take the action. Right? When I feel the guilt of, like, what is mine to do, and activating others, motivating others, and like, what is yours to do to create peace on earth? And of course, it has to begin with ourselves. It has to become with, like, the universe within and outside of us reflects us. What's outside is inside, micro, macro, the Hermetic principle. And if we have war within us, where we don't like aspects of ourselves, we don't like our hair, for example, or we don't like this part of ourselves, or we feel like we have to hide, or we can't be our full selves, that's internal warfare. And the more we love ourselves, the more we love the world. And really, it does, like, world peace begins with you. Like, it can't begin anywhere else. And then it just ripples. And it's so profound. And I've been this is the big download I got this week. I mean, I've gotten a lot. It's been a very profound retrograde season and full moon, but the number one thing I got is we actually do, like, yes, fuck the patriarchy. Literally, though,
Yeah.
like the matriarchy and the patriarchy have to get back together. They have to go to a sex therapy camp. They have to, like, literally, it's like we have to fuck the patriarchy. We have to
I love
love
it.
it back to life. Like, and then through there, the Trinity, the third element, the spirit, the non-binary, right? The rainbow spectrum of expression is born, and all is allowed. But the matriarchy literally has to fuck the patriarchy. You can't make it crumble. You have to love what it created and release what's no longer serving us. And that only can really truly happen through the magic of love, like through, and, the expression of sex magic. And, there's so many ways to express that and to do it. But I know for me, having a partner who's an incredibly masculine man who works in the heavy duty field, he's a heavy duty mechanic. Like it's literally given me love for men and the masculine and the work that they do, that no amount of like masculine and feminine spiritual training could have given me. Right? Like the way that we heal is literally by fucking the patriarchy, and it's a pretty fun process. What do you think about that?
Oh my God, I love that so much. Because yeah, it's not that we need to get rid of the patriarchy. We have to like get them to work together. The word isn't flowing right now. You know what? Yeah, the word isn't flowing. I'm sorry. It's like we can't just cancel patriarchy. We can't just cancel the matriarchy. It's like we do need them to work together. And we have to allow the ebbs and flows of it. There's going to be times where the masculine energy is stronger. There's going to be times where it's more feminine. And it's harmonizing. It's not balancing, because it's like a pendulum. It's going to swing, but it's finding the harmony as it flows. That's what the world needs. And we do need strong masculine men. We do need strong feminine women. But we also need those strong masculine men to be in touch and tuned into their feminine side. And we need the strong feminine leaders to still be strong in their masculine energy, because we go back and forth between the two, depending where we are in our day, what we're doing, what's needed. And if we don't have those balanced in us, each of us, that's what throws everything out of whack. So it's like, we don't need to kill the patriarchy. We need the masculine energy to harmonize with the feminine in each person.
Yes.
That's where we're trying to make change.
That's, I mean, oh, it's so beautiful. And it really is so beautiful. Like everything is a spectrum, right? When I was doing my psychology degree and studying the DSM, and it was while the DSM was evolving from DSM-4 to DSM-5. And I literally want to I have ideas for what I want to do.
I want to throw that out. I hate DSM-5.
Yeah. I honestly, I agree, because to me, it's like, it was like, there's a lot of good in it too, but it has this veil, like most things that have been created. It has a patriarchal conditioning, just like Western astrology does. Like it's literally within the structure of the patriarchy. And what we need to do with it is evolve it, right? And every single diagnostic, like every single mental illness there is, it's really a spectrum, right? Like it's normal to feel depressed when your mother dies.
Yes.
Right? It's normal to feel depression and those symptoms when you have had a tragedy strike you. When it becomes abnormal or really dysfunctional is when it's like all day, every day for months at a time, and you can't work, you can't function anymore. That's when you need support, right? Everything is a spectrum. And masculine and feminine is the most ultimate spectrum we live in on this planet. And, the sun is the masculine force shining down, and the earth is the feminine, like, embodiment, literally giving us all life. It's the dance of the cosmos. And then of course there's a millennia of expressions in between, right? And of course we're seeing that in society so much. But I don't want to get into that whole conversation, because that's a whole other topic. I will have a whole other podcast about like what is happening with like the expansive side of what's happening, in that area, and also like the weird stuff that just needs to stop because it's just like sexual fetishes. But that's all I'll say for right now. Right. So I feel like I should clarify because I don't want people coming at me being like, what are you talking about, Sonia? But essentially
Leave them hanging.
yeah, all I want to say is like, there's a very big difference between fully accepting and allowing people to be whatever expression of masculine, feminine, or in between they are, and having whatever sexual orientation they have. But, there's a difference between that and kink and fetishes and drag shows, right? It's not the same thing. Like it's not the same thing. It's simply not. And yeah, teaching it to children, I'm a no for that. I'm a yes to teaching tolerance and acceptance, right? And like, oh, that's fine. You can have two moms, you can have two dads, like whatever it looks like is totally good. And most modern kids are like, yeah, that's just what life is. Like, they're like, what world are you living in, right? You don't like, it's almost like you don't really need to say it because they already know it, but it is important to say. But, it's just the fact that there's also like the kink agenda happening, which I'm like, please no. So I guess that was it. That was all I wanted to say about that. Now I don't have to record a whole other podcast. Thank you. Thank you, Angela, for holding the space. For me to express something I've been trying to say for months, but I didn't know how to say it. But today's the day. Mars is direct.
I just bring it out in you.
You do. And truly you do, because when we get to interact with, like, this is the power of having different coaches and different mentors and different people speaking into your life, is because everyone has a unique aura and energetics. And being able to be in your aura with that 20, like I have the 3410 that goes to my G center, but having the 3420 and feeling that, it's really empowering. It's super empowering to be conditioned in being fearless, right? In self-expression. And that's how I really experience your fear motivation. It's like, what am I afraid of not saying? Like, what am I afraid of not doing? Right? That's how you motivate. It's like, well, what are you just going to stay depressed and sad and not healthy like forever? Or are you going to actually get yourself supported and look for alternative options and get like fall in love with yourself? Like, are you going to continue feeling so bad about yourself that you just like, there's no point to life? Or are you going to start this self-love journey? And that is, to me, like, that is the epitome of your fear motivation, right? Is like, what are you afraid of not changing? And then you can, support people to change that and activate them. What's that like to hear that? I've never told you that before, but
yeah,
just
that totally makes sense, because it's like the energy of what are you more afraid of? Are you more afraid of staying in the same place and 6 months from now looking back and realizing you're in the exact same spot? Are you more afraid of that? Or are you more afraid of taking one baby step to change where you're at, to shift your mindset, to improve your life? What would you rather do? Do you want to be 6 months from now, look back and go, wow, look how far I've come. I have changed everything in my life by making that one little micro change. Or 6 months from now, do you want to be looking back and going, wow, I'm in the exact same spot I was in before. But you know what? I'm in my little comfy bubble and I feel safe and comfortable, and I'm just going to stay here because it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you more afraid of?
Yes.
And my motivation with clients is pointing that out, because everybody, of course, goes, yeah, I don't want to be in the same spot in 6 months. Okay, so then what do we need to shift now? What little change can we make now that's going to change the projection so that in 6 months, you're not in the same spot?
Mm-hmm.
And then being able to visualize it that way, they're able to not be so afraid to take that step.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mind fuck. It's getting them to shift out of that I'm in my little comfy place and I don't want to move personality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And instead going, wow, what if?
Yes.
How the potency of what if?
Mm-hmm.
It can be that simple.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you are the lived embodiment of that, right? Because you could have just stayed in that and continued listening to you know, your doctors or the corporate world that told you don't have any breaks in your corporate resume, get back to work, right? Like,
well, look at the medical profession that told me I was healthy. My blood work was fine. You're fine. Must be in your head. Maybe you're depressed. Here's some antidepressants.
Right.
And I took it upon myself, and I literally spent $1,200 sending my blood work to Germany to a lab there. And that came back with the diagnosis that totally changed everything. That was the catalyst in actually starting to heal my body. It was like the validation that it wasn't all in my head. But if I had been too scared to take that step and to push back and go, no, I don't accept what you're saying. If I had been afraid and hadn't reached out to my naturopath and hadn't taken that next step, where would I be right now? I would be in the same spot, probably back working at that corporate job with the same health issues and no improvement. Versus the life that I have now, that the word is coming, it starts with a V, but it won't come out. You know, like my life is so full and potent and abundant right now. And it's the love. There's so much love in my life right now. And it's love for myself, love for the people around me, love for the people I'm working with, love for my clients. Like there's just so much love. And you and I've talked a lot about that over the last, couple of years that we've known each other. But it's, love is the way. I say that on social media a lot. Love is the way. It all begins there.
There's no other way. Right. And love has many expressions, right? There's many languages to love. And I feel really called to share about like the one thing that I loved so much when we started working together was that epic photo shoot that you did.
Yes.
That honestly was like a psychic channeling of a photo shoot, because you were so witchy. You were looking at crystal balls and cards. And you know,
I
like
burned
you were
a
saying,
book.
right? Like you burned a book, you had like it was incredible. And you created it with the YYC Dream Team that Chelsea Frederick was a part of. And she's also one of the Lucky Witch leaders. And then the incredible photographer, like literally just these photos were what inspired the building of all of your Instagram content and your graphics, and then support with your website. Because after Lucky Witch, we started working together in Build Your Own Sacred Site, where you built your own site, but you got support. And it was so much fun to co-create and to see you literally learn how to completely be empowered in making your own website, right? From going like, oh, I need an expert to do this for me, to, oh, this is actually fun and creative and I get to be creative. And then the experts can come in to just help me edit it or move some things around so that it flows better. And that is so much fun for me to do. Like I discovered the fun of my own creativity and my own artistry through working with you and co-creating your branding graphics and your website, even though we didn't actually ever do a formal branding exercise. Like we didn't build a logo, we didn't really choose typography, but we chose the energy based on this photo shoot that was just such a potent expression of your essence. I really wish the Dream Team was like still doing their thing. I have to ask Chelsea what they're doing, but please remind us, like, who was your photographer? What was that like to fully like own yourself and take those photos? We'll share some of them. They're all on your website, so we'll open that up in a minute, but just sharing what that was like to actually embody your power, perhaps even before you had fully understood all of your power in that photo shoot.
Yeah. So the photographer was Kate Rhodes, and she is phenomenal. Oh, it was the most beautiful experience with her and Chelsea and Stacey Heron. Like it was just, it was the most beautiful experience ever. And I was on medical leave when I did the photo shoot, and I had gained weight and I did not feel at all comfortable. I don't like my photos taken. And yet I went shopping with Stacey. We picked outfits and Chelsea coached me through it. And then in the actual experience of the photo shoot, I did not feel self-conscious at all. It's like I just stepped into my feminine energy that day and just had so much fun. And there was not really any like specific branding created beforehand, like you said, and it was no real expectation, but we took that photo shoot and took the colors and stuff and the energy from it, and my brand evolved from the photo shoot versus normally you have your kind of branding picked and then you do the photo shoot to fit the branding. And it evolved, and we started creating my website, and those photos kind of guided what we put on the website, and it created the brand that I hadn't really figured out yet. And working with you to create that website, like I had zero experience. I had created my own little basic Squarespace website, but kind of used a template and just plopped some information and didn't really know how to do anything on the website. And then building it with you on Show It, it was like so much fun, and just being in your energy and you helping me move things around and rewrite the wording. And you could see me and you could take what I was saying and then you would expand on it and make it make sense and make it beautiful on the website. And so the combination of us working on it together created this epic website that I'm so freaking proud of. And then my branding emerged, and it's evolving. Like you mentioned recently when we connected again that, my colors have changed and just my vibe has changed. And now just in the last week here, I've had this whole new branding drop in for something I don't even want to talk about yet because it's really cool. And it's just that whole vibe is playing into the recent color change on my website too. And it's evolving, and it's just really exciting. So I feel like after this last year and kind of being in the cloud and then like emerging, it's like everything's coming together, and I'm excited to start promoting my website again and promoting my offerings, because I haven't really done it in the last year. I've kind of taken that time back and focused on myself.
Which is, oh, so good. Like, honestly, it's so amazing how, that dream team coming together with Kate, like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to do a photo shoot with Kate for forever. So I'm so grateful that we're doing this podcast, because I'm like, I need to reach out and do that. I've been visualizing it for too long. And it's so powerful what having really beautiful photos where you feel embodied and fully you and fully seen can do for your branding and your messaging, because you're just more willing to put yourself out there, and you have stuff to actually put on your website. Like that's often truly the number two major bottlenecks of building websites is the content. Like obviously a website is nothing without content and flow and knowing what your funnels are and what your buy flows are, etc., and the journey. But the number two is pictures. Like I still have like one website that I've been waiting for my client to send me the pictures so I can finish it for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
Because if you don't have pictures, like, I mean, obviously you can have a website without pictures, but it really depends on what you do. And if you are a coach, it's best to have pictures of you so that people can learn who you are and connect to your energetics and to your style. And I really love your constant evolution, like, especially that you're always changing your hair. You kind of remind me of Tonks from Harry Potter, how she like changes her hair when she's like in a different mood. She's like, I'm pink right now. And then she's purple. And then she's like, oh, don't talk to me. And she'll go black, and she'll just like, she evaporates or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's so you. And I think that's part of why perhaps we didn't just intuitively pick like these are your brand colors, because it's meant to evolve, and you're meant to evolve. And then maybe there'll be like a baseline of these ones always feel like me. But maybe I've even coached clients, like one of my favorite brands I ever built was Palladian Home with Carissa Check, we did a podcast together a couple years back now. And she's an interior designer and also an energy healer. So she integrates all of that. And I had even suggested to her, like your website can be seasonal, like not that the whole thing will change, but just like you seasonally decorate a home, you can seasonally decorate your brand. You can have a different vibe and energy, right? It's winter time now. And I noticed you're incorporating darker tones and black. And I'm like, that makes sense. We're in the darkest time here in the north, right? It's summer in the south. I want to go down south. I'm like I'm very much craving a snowbird winter this year, but it's beautiful how it shifts and flows. And when we first created it, it was around the springtime, and it was like pink and blossoms and softness and femininity. And so, brands are ever evolving, ever shifting. Like I really don't like rules. Like my only rule is there are no rules in branding. And it's whatever feels the most authentic to you, because whatever is your authentic expression of your energy signature of your work is what's going to instantly resonate with people. And so I just want to stop talking about it and show it off. So first I'm going to show off, I'm just going to share my screen. And these are some of the Canva templates that we built together. These were so much fun to create, but you can see how these photos literally created so much inspiration. Like I could just take these photos and create like 100 different posts from them. And it was so much fun. Like I literally just pulled the colors from this background and it was beautiful. I would love for you to use the rose. I know you haven't used it very much, but I'm like the rose now. I'm like, heal the shit. That's my favorite. Have your own back. It gets to be easier. So I had just been talking to you for so long and we'd been working together that it was so easy for me to put these together because your voice was in my head. And this was where we started. And then this is the website that you created. And look at how potent it is, right? This was back in your red, purple, like hair phase, which I love. And like, just look at this. It's so empowering to see this, like reclaim your power. Angela Rosenow, empowering women to embrace their inner goddess. Like so beautiful. And this template from Show It is just gorgeous. Like, I just love the interactivity and how it works. And the pictures really make it. Like, of course, the flow of everything is important. But to me, without that photo shoot, like this is just like a promo for Kate and the dream team and Chelsea. But like without these photos, like you're looking at us here. Like, it's not just, hey, I'm Angela. It's like, this is me. Like, I'm looking at you. Like we're having an eye to eye connection, right? When you, as a coach, when you have that on your site, people are going to like, they're going to already meet the person that they get to meet over Zoom or that they get to meet in person. If you're meeting in person, oh my God, I love this, all the red. And I loved creating this, like the love factory.
Yes.
Because my copywriter and best friend, Renee, she, like when I was finishing my site, I'm like, I feel like something's missing. She's like, yeah, write that you're a joy factory because my life purpose is joy and I love joy. And then you're like, I'm a love factory. I'm like, yes, you are. So it's like, welcome to the love factory. It's like, here it is. And it's just like, look at the pure love and radiance shining from your face. And then the beauty of the red of your red hair here with the red of the flowers. Like, I see how you've evolved it and it's gorgeous. And it's just so wonderful. So for anyone that wants to work with Angela, like go to angelarosenow.com. It's Angel rosenow.com. Just in case you didn't know, your name started with Angel. your name is a sentence. Angel a rose now.
Yep. I like it.
And you can see all of her current offers. Oh, I love that GIF of like the waves crashing in. That's one of my favorite things, is to include visuals and like depth and movement in a site. That was my main strategy when creating the YYC cycle, like digital strategy, when I worked on that years ago. Like, include movement, include real pictures, make it like engaging. That's how people get really, really, that's why they want to be on your website more than they want to be on Instagram, is because it looks good. And then there's epic content here for them. So I just love it. I love it so much. I love all these sections that were created by this designer for this template. It was truly, truly like, look at this crystal ball, look at that magic. Like, and you don't even do crystal ball readings. I mean,
no, I don't. I just felt called to use that.
Right. So what's it been like because, as a brand strategist and a website expert, I've been doing it for over 13 years now. This is my 13th year, which is perfect. It's so amazing how many people, like, you don't need a website in order to make money, in order to be an entrepreneur, right? Like, you literally just need, like, you don't even need to be online. You could just be meeting people and working through referrals. Like, we don't need any of these things, but the tool that it is immense. And that's everything that I teach about in Build Your Own Sacred Site, like the power of having your own website that you own, where there's no algorithm, where you can like create traffic from all over the web by creating content and blogs, etc. it's so powerful. It's such a powerful tool. So what's it been like for you to have this website and to have this space to direct people to like know that it's always on and always available?
It's just a beautiful feeling to know that people can go to my website and click on it and go through the different pages and get a good feel of who I am and what I have to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're seeing inside my head, inside me, without me having to do that extra work. It's just all there at their fingertip. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a good expression of myself. And it's ever evolving. It's changing as I change.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they get to have a feel of who I am. And it's a fun thing to have to send them people to. And it's got little quirky stuff in there. Like I'm a recovering finance officer, because it's so
Mm-hmm.
true. Like I very much see myself as that. And
Uh-huh.
it
Oh my
was very
gosh.
life-changing to me.
I love this. I'm a recovering finance officer who traded her bra and heels for tanks and joggers. Yes.
Because
Oh
it's
my
so
gosh.
true. I have a whole container full of heels that I haven't worn in 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting is I actually like when I look at my closet, so much of it I wasn't wearing because I used to get dressed up to, go to my corporate job that I haven't been in for over 5 years now. But I used to get dressed up to go work even at coffee shops. And then over the last 2 years, it was like, oh, no bra, I'm always wearing sweatpants. Like, am I wearing pants? Like, who knows? Right.
Yeah.
And then recently I started getting dressed up again. Like I went through this mutation phase, and in human design, I learned from this incredible woman called Karen McMullen. I think you'd really resonate with her and anyone else listening. She has a great YouTube channel, and she talks about how when we go through mutation and transformation, that we actually don't know what to wear. We're like, what is my identity? Like, what do I wear?
Yes.
Like, what do I put on? How do I express this part of me? Or who am I even? Like, what do I want to wear? And I was really going through that where I felt like I was like, do I need a whole new wardrobe that's so expensive, that feels wasteful? I'm like, but I love some of these pieces, but I don't want to wear anything. Like I was just every day I was standing there being like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to wear. And then I started just wearing some of my old stuff, but I wear it for recordings, and I wear it for whenever I'm doing trainings or just getting on a call. And it actually gives me so much more expression and energy to fully like let myself play with fashion again, because that was something that I was missing. Like I love that fashion show piece of being in an office. Like it's so fun to be like, oh my God, I love your heels, I love this. Like that's a very fun piece of working with like women and being in an office space that I felt like I was missing, and I've recently been reincorporating it through just the mutation cycle that I'm currently in. So I would just love to know, like, what's it been like to, I mean, obviously you've shared your beauty journey and your journey with your health and your wellness, but like being a self-love oracle, like how is your self-love expressed now? Like how do you feel about your own fashion and expression and just look even?
I love that so much. So with the weight gain, I literally had 4 big, huge Rubbermaid containers in the basement of clothes that no longer fit. And I was hanging on to that and not wanting to let go, because it's like, I want to get back to that size. It's like, that hyper focus on the weight. And I was buying, like, I'm wearing these literally these fleece pants that I got at Aerie, and I have like 5 pairs of them, and I live in them when I'm at home because they're warm. And one of the things I find lately is I'm always cold. And I was beating myself up because you look at yourself in the mirror and go, wow, I look chubby in these. And it's like, screw that, like whatever. My image isn't about what I wear. Like when I worked in the corporate job, it was, you get dressed up, you're wearing heels, you're wearing makeup. And now I can't even remember the last time I wore makeup. Like I just don't care. And I used to wash my hair every day, and now I wash my hair twice a week. It's just, trying to have healthier hair. And I go out in sweatpants and, comfortable shoes. And I've been wearing my son's jacket because it's comfortable. And it's what's really evolved with the self-love is that I don't need to dress up a certain way and look a certain way to love myself. I have to be comfortable in my own skin. I have to feel good. And if that means like right now I'm wearing a Christmas t-shirt I bought that's got wine glasses with Santa hats on it.
Wait, let me
And,
stop sharing your website so we can see it a little bit more.
like it's
Yes.
wine.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And I've got my fleece pants on, and you know what? I feel more beautiful and sexy now than when I was dressing up to go to my corporate job. Because the corporate job, I felt like I was putting a mask on and I had to look a certain way to fit the role I was in. And now I just don't give a fuck. Like I work at a gym. Like I go to work in a team shirt and sweatpants. And when I'm at home, working on my business or my VA work, I'm on my computer in my room. And it's just like, you know what? I need to be me. I need to express myself. And this feels good to me right now. And I love myself more than when I was forcing myself to, go shopping and buy the trendy clothes to wear all the time. So I love that you have evolved. You're like pulling out your clothes again. And I maybe would be doing the same if they would fit, but they don't fit. And instead of like feeling sorry for myself, it's like, oh, well, I can just buy clothes that fit my body now. And I've lost a little bit of the weight. And it's like, if it comes off, it comes off. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And a year ago, I couldn't have said that.
That's powerful.
Now it's just like, this is the stage I'm at in my life. I feel good. Can I feel better? Yes, I'm still healing. I'm still working on that, but I feel good where I'm at right now. And I'm dressing for what feels good. I did get a pink puffy coat from Michael Kors for Christmas.
Yes.
And I love it. It's pale pink and
pink and puffy. Yes.
It's like, I love it. And I feel so good when I wear it. And it's like, so yeah, I've still got the little fashion part, but you know what? Otherwise, I'm just being me. And I want women to feel comfortable in their own skin. Like, again, back to the patriarchy that determined that we should be wearing nylons and skirts and heels and makeup and bras that constrict us and hurt. And it's like, I'm not for any of that anymore. I'm for wearing what makes me feel good and makes me feel comfortable.
Yes. And the complete freedom to love yourself regardless. And I just love you. I love what you just shared, because it's such an important message of self-love, especially in a world rampant with like body image issues, eating disorders, the pain of like hating our bodies, judging our bodies, not feeling good enough in our bodies. And I know for myself, I haven't worn makeup like I'm not wearing makeup right now, but I have like an immense skincare and like wellness routine that I do to support my skin so that I don't have to wear makeup.
Yeah.
And now when I wear makeup, it's so weird because it doesn't look like me.
Right.
And it's so strange. I'm like, wow, that doesn't look like me at all. And then wearing glasses over the last year, I started wearing glasses again, which is so nice because I can actually see the stars fully because I'm nearsighted.
Yeah.
And, even having my glasses on, I don't feel like it's fully my face. Like when I take it off, like this is me in my face and how I want to show myself. But with my astigmatism, I actually this is a reminder that I have to go talk to my eye doctor and see if I could get contacts or something, because I notice I want my full face to be shown. And even though I'm in love with my glasses for giving me perfect vision, it doesn't feel like me. Like it doesn't feel like I'm fully here. Like I love my own natural self. And I couldn't have said that before. Like that was not my experience before, right? Not wearing a bra was never an option. Even like I just lived in sweatpants and hoodies, and I got used to that being my normal, and also how I felt good and sexy. Like it's a whole different, it's really a reclamation of what beauty means and how we express it. And really what we've been saying this entire podcast is it starts from the inside out, right? Like world peace begins with you. When you come to peace with who you're with your body and where you're at. My body has fluctuated a lot. I actually lost a lot of weight while I was sick that I didn't want to lose. Like I lost my appetite, and I didn't like that I didn't feel strong anymore, and I wasn't curvy anymore, and my boobs got smaller. And I'm like, I actually want to gain weight. And I actually think that women who are curvier and more voluptuous and have like just are more round. Like, I think that's so attractive and beautiful. And beauty standards are always changing and shifting. Like, you can go study it, like literally go Google like the history of beauty standards and like fashion on YouTube, and it'll be a revelation, and how it's different all over the world, how people think about it. But it's so powerful to just love yourself for who you are and what
And
you like.
it's getting easier too, now that big corporations are starting to recognize it. And like, you walk past Victoria's Secret and it's women of all sizes. I don't want to say plus sizes, it's women of all sizes displayed in their advertising, because that's what messed women up. It was the patriarchy and the determination that we all have to have this perfect size 2 body, and we have to have the perfect perky boobs, and we have to wear heels so it shows off our legs, and we have to have makeup on and do our hair, like this persona that we were supposed to be. That's what's messed women up. And now that you see more and more companies with their advertising showing the average woman, because the average woman is
real
not
body,
a supermodel. And that really messes with women. And I'm very fortunate in the fact that I've never had any body dysmorphia issues or eating disorders or anything like that. I've been very fortunate, but there are so many women that struggle with that. And all of that marketing and advertising is just fucked up with like women's perception of themselves. So for me, I've been really focused with the weight gain that it's okay. This is my body healing. And I went like you, I lost a whole bunch of weight. When my health was first getting worse, I was losing more and more weight. And I was so fixated on it. Like, look in the mirror, look how skinny I am. Look at the muscles that were coming out, because I was working out 3-4 times a week. And I was like, so proud of myself. And then my health just completely bottomed out, and I got sick and I started gaining weight, and it messed with my head. And I was hiding my body from my husband. I was hiding from myself. I didn't want to look at it. And it was a big evolution this last year of me embracing it and accepting and looking at my body as this amazing organism that has walked me through this healing journey and is evolving every day and healing every day, and just falling in love with every little inch of it and every little organ and what it does for me every day, so that I can function, so that I can breathe, that I can walk, that I can love, that I can laugh, like all of these things. Like, this body serves me every day. And so it's loving and worshiping her as she is, not as I want her to be, because right now is where I want to be.
Rosenow, right? We bloom into the now. It's not about blooming when you're making 6 figures. It's not about blooming when you're at your ideal body weight, whatever that look or whatever that looks like. It's about loving yourself now. That is the ultimate alchemy of self-love. And you've embodied it. And I'm so grateful. And it's been truly an honor and a beautiful journey to witness. And at times it was scary, because I was like, why are we all in this darkness? Why does it need to be like this? Like, I'm scared. But it was so worth it. Like, to go to that level of, underneath our pain and underneath our grief is our joy, is our gratitude, is our love, and our bodies are our ultimate vessels that carry us through this life. They hold our souls, and our hearts are beating with us every step of the way through our whole life. And of course, they're going to guide us, because they guide us anyway. And I'm just so grateful that you've been bold and brave enough to share your story and to come on here and speak about everything we've spoken about, like, from fucking the patriarchy to loving yourself, and how those two things could actually be the same thing.
Yes,
Perhaps.
very profound.
Right? Self-love is the ultimate FU to a world that tells you that you have to be or do certain things in order to be approved and loved, right? Self-love yourself
100%.
radically in the now is revolutionary. It's a revelation for everyone. And I'm so grateful. I feel like we could continue talking for like hours
talk forever,
and hours.
And we have done before.
Yes, we could Joe Rogan like experience talk for hours and pull stuff up. And I do want to have more of like a free flow podcast format like that. But for now, I feel like this was such a powerful conversation, and to leave people with like, love yourself in the now, and reach out to Angela if you want potent feminine empowerment, her beautiful oracle and psychic guidance, and just self-love magic. Go to angelarosenow.com. Enjoy the beauty and wonder that website is. If you want to make your own sacred site, go to soniarose.com/ what is it? Build your own sacred site, or just go to soniarose.com and you'll find it there. I'm like, I don't know the / It's really bad podcast etiquette. And go to Angela's Instagram to angela.rosenow. Really good content, very potent sharing, always vulnerable, always real. I love it. It's so good. I feel like you're going to be back here again this year at some point. And I feel like we should have a podcast party where there's like several of us and we're just talking about the journey.
Yes.
And I'm excited. Is there anything else that you wish to say? Anything else that's on your heart that you want to leave the audience here?
Just to embrace the now. Embrace where you are at now. Love yourself where you are now. We get so focused on, I'll like myself better when I'm here. I'll love myself more when I'm here. I'll be a better person when I'm here. Focus on the now, where you're at now, and make those little micro shifts. You don't have to make big changes. Every day, just focus on the now and make those micro shifts. And that's where you'll see the ripple effect. Just love yourself where you're at now.
So beautiful. This has been Angela Rosenow and me, Sonia Rose. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this conversation. And I'm so grateful to every single person that is listening and watching this. We are all here to create a peaceful, beautiful, loving earth, and we can only do it together. And it starts with you loving yourself right now. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day or night or whatever you're listening to this. Mwah. Goodbye.